walk in they spot, get the spark and that shit. I'm darker than most of all these bitches, so I'm awkward in this. So offer me shit, cause I'm that bitch, nigga. Pardon my French, harder than most niggas. Roast niggas, hard to condense. I'm like that jury in the trial, nigga. Hard to convince. I spit that real shit. Fuck, nigga. Who wanna pick that murder mill shit? What, nigga? Nah, the shit. Nah. Pick any beat and I promise you I'm a body it. Model hopping out the Bugatti, probably Somalian. I be in Bulgarian lingerie and a cardigan. Look at all my diamonds, they shining, don't need no audience.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Jackie, and yes, I am back with another review for The Chi. Season 4, Episode 4. This episode is entitled The Girl from Chicago. And this episode got deep. This episode definitely pushed a lot of people's buttons. They was not feeling some stuff that was going on in this episode. And yeah, I'm ready to get into this review because I got some things that I'm gonna say, and I'm just gonna tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So get ready. Before we even get started, remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get my videos when they drop. So with that being said, let's get into this review. Now, the episode starts out with Emmett and Tiff, and they're getting into this open marriage that they have agreed to do. Emmett reluctantly, because he didn't really want to do this, but he feels like he's very guilty and he wants to do whatever to make Tiffany happy, because he knows that he caused this ultimately, and whatever he can do so that Tiffany doesn't leave him, he's going to agree to it. So, but we saw very quickly in this episode just how much he was not into it. When he was with old girl, you can see that he just wasn't into it. He wasn't there. He didn't really want to do it. But Tiff, on the other hand, child, baby, Tiff was having the time of her life. Do you understand me? Okay. Woo, Tiff was having the time of her life. I was like, okay. Yeah. Dante was putting it down, y'all. I was like, damn. But, later on, we see Tiffany talking to Keisha, and Emmett comes in there. He's like, what y'all talking about or whatever. What the bam. She's like, none of your business or whatever. He's like, it's my restaurant, it's my business, and some bullshit he came up with. So then she was like, whatever, I need to talk to you anyway. So they go in the back, and that's the scene you see right here. And she's like, how you gonna, fuck such and such, what I'm saying? I used to work with her. She used to spread all these rumors about me. He was like, I can't keep up with everybody that, you know what I'm saying, you can't stand or whatever. So he was like, well, how you know I'm messing with her? Anyway, she was like, because I could smell her cheap ass perfume. So she was like, we got to set some ground rules. So they set some or whatever, like, you can't be bringing no females back to the house, and she ain't going to bring no niggas back to the house, And later on, we see them in the car, and he's like, okay, you want to set all these ground rules, but I got one too. No more Dante. She was like, nah, he off limits or whatever like that, because you the reason we in this. So he was like, okay, whatever. And later on, we see him go over to Jada's house. And, Sway opens the door, and he's like, where my mama at, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, she laying down. She was like, what she tired for, you know what I'm saying? Like, from what job you doing or whatever? And he was like, nah, man. He was like, he go in there and she in the bathroom. He was like, she want to talk to you or whatever. And he see her and he was like, she throwing up and stuff. She was like, you pregnant, ma? He was like, she not pregnant. And he was like, well, what's wrong with you then? And, Jada finally tells him, I got cancer. And the look on Emmett's face was just like, he ain't know what to say. we see him later on, and he goes back to the house, and with EJ, and Tiff notices something was wrong with him. She's like, "What's wrong?" And he was like, "How come you always know something wrong?" And she like, "Because we connected or whatever." And then Images, break down, and she go to him and she comfort him and stuff like that. And I really think that this might bring them a little closer together. I still don't think they're gonna last, but I think that you know she's probably gonna try to cut things off with Dante, like, I need to be there for my husband and stuff like that. And we gonna have to see how this gonna go, because I can't see Dante, letting her go like that. But I guess we have to see what's gonna happen. But I feel bad for Emmett as far as his mom's concerned. Now, also, with this whole Jada being sick thing, we have this issue with Dre and Nina, because Dre is in a position where she has to keep this Jada secret from Nina. And so with that, she has to lie about where she is, or you know what I'm saying, basically, and keeping certain things from Nina. And Nina's starting to pick up on that, what I'm saying. She's like, asked the question like, where you been at? What the bam? Because earlier she had to go to the hospital with Keisha, whatever. And I'll talk about that when I start talking about Keisha. But she's telling him like, Nina, like, when I be in these sessions, I gotta turn my phone off. And she was like, I understand it, but you gotta check in. And she was like, okay, or whatever. But later on at the end of the night, we see that Nina actually goes, and when Drake was asleep, she actually goes through her phone, and she sees a text, because her phone went off. It was like vibrating. And she sees a text from Jada. And it's basically saying, thank you for keeping our secret. And this is kind of crazy to me, because I'm like, how are they going to have her thinking that something is going on with Jada when she knows that Jada isn't gay? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not impossible to think that, but you would think that as long as she's known them, she would know that, okay, this can't be going on, because, Drake's not gay. But, it's still going to be a problem, though, because, Drake's been lying to her. So, and there's also the issue of why she felt like she couldn't trust her, to tell her that information. So, yeah, it's going to be trouble in, the Williams household. Now, moving on to Tracy. Sister girl then woke up, and she comes into, I guess that's the dining area, and Rose is sitting there, and she was like, congratulations, you effed the mayor, and she was like, so what do you want? And Tracy just looking around like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, you don't even know, do you? She was like, I just want to go home. And she's like, well, I can't let you do that. And she was like, excuse me? She was like, no, I'm not trying to kidnap you. It's a, protest outside, obviously, apparently blue lives do matter, even though black ones don't, So, just have a seat, have you some breakfast or whatever. And she like, oh my God, what I'm saying? I was like, well, girl, you got yourself into that. You should took your ass home last night. You wanted to go home. But you had to stay up in there and get you some, you know what I'm saying? So she looking at her like, okay, well, I guess I can't go nowhere. So, you know what I'm saying? And she went on ahead and stayed there. And then later on, we see her and Duda, and she trying on dresses or whatever. And he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Bought her stuff like that. And she asked him why and stuff. And he like, well, we basically using each other, you know what I'm saying? He's using you to get work done in the community, and you using him for his researches pretty much. So, y'all helping each other out and stuff like that. But, at the same time, they feeling each other, whatever. I'm just like, I don't know how this storyline is going to end, because I feel like, technically, do have something to do with Tracy's son being dead. So I wouldn't be surprised if she the one that killed him in the end. Now, moving on to Jake and Gemma. Now, the first time we see them, they're in the principal's office at the school. And apparently, the school has a problem with the video that they made last week. Now, my predictions about what was going on with them was totally off. I actually thought that, the one teacher was going to use Kevin's paper against him and get him in trouble, but I was way off. So what happened was when they did the video or whatever, the school got upset and they want to cancel her show. Really they was trying to expel Jake, for saying what he said. But, Duda came down there and, he talked to the teacher and was like, we're not going to do all that. What the bam. And, he worked it out for him or whatever like that. But Jake and Gemma, they was like, when they found out her show was canceled and stuff, they was like, this some bullshit. Like, he told the truth. And, even Duda was like, if I was you, I would have said the same thing. I was saying that, said that shit too, because it's the truth or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I feel you on that. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad that y'all not getting kicked out of school and stuff like that. They just gonna cancel y'all show or whatever. And both of them like, nah, that's some bullshit. Which it is. You know what I'm saying? And they had every right to feel the way they felt. And so, that teacher was like, whatever happened to a good old-fashioned ass whooping. And Dude looked at him like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we doing now. When somebody says something that we don't like, even though it's true, whoop their ass. Like, exactly. You ain't got to like what they said, but what they saying is true. Shit. Like, you wanna, you know what I'm saying, cancel their show because he told the truth, because that's how he feel about getting beat up by the police for no reason. Like, man, get out of here with that mess, man. So then, later on, we see Jake and Jim, but like, they not letting this go. They're like, no, we gonna protest, what I'm saying? They trying to, gather some people and stage a protest, because they not being treated right, what I'm saying, like that. They want to silence them from talking about what's going on in the community and what's happening. Now, a lot of people like, Gemma is privileged and she got money and, what I'm saying, she can do all that because she ain't gonna get in trouble. She got a rich daddy that's gonna bail her out of this. And I'm like, what does her money got to do with anything? Her having money don't make her wrong about what she's saying. You know what I'm saying? Because she's dead on and she's right about what she's saying, and she's standing up for what she believes in. And she knows the consequences. You know what I'm saying? As well as Jake does. And, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not understanding why people keep bringing up the fact that she got money. And so, Jake up in there and he down. He like, standing by her like, yeah, we gonna do this and something like that. And they, talking to the people. And then Kevin, he's like, no, I ain't with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got out of trouble and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, you worried about getting in trouble again, but when you was over there with them white boys, you weren't worried about getting in trouble. When you was over there doing them drugs and stuff and doing something you ain't have no business, but doing something that's actually helpful to your community, that's actually, some good trouble, all of a sudden you worried about getting in trouble. Man, Kevin, if you don't get the hell out of here, like, that's why I'm like, for people sitting up there, like, trying to take Kevin's side in this, Kevin is on some bullshit. He on some, Ben Carson want to be bullshit, and I ain't even trying to hear that mess. Like, get the hell out of here. Jake ain't got no rich daddy to go back to either, you know what I'm saying? But he down, he finna walk out with her. Like, it don't even make no sense, because he even said to Jake, like, we ain't got no rich parents to get us up out of this, and you talking about walking out of the school. And it's like, he walking out because he was the one that got beat up by the police. And Jake ain't never gave a fuck. He don't even like that school no damn way. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Like, and truth be told, you got roughed up by the police too. You ought to be wanting to do the stuff for that reason alone. You know what I'm saying? Because he has this attitude like, he just don't want to get involved. He trying to hide behind the fact that he think he finna get in trouble, but that ain't even the case. Kevin just don't agree with what they doing. And instead of saying that, he trying to hide behind this, oh, I don't want to get in trouble thing again. But if you pay close attention to everything that he done slick said, like even when he was doing that that podcast with, with Papa. He was like, I'm sorry that I didn't support you, even though I don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? He just don't agree with what's going on. And also, I can back that up by, if you go back to the first episode when Jake got beat up and they was in the hospital, he pretty much told Jake it was his fault that he got beat up by the police. Because you remember when Jake was like, if I had, had my uniform on, maybe I would have walked away too. And Kevin straight up looked him in his face and was like, no, I walked away because I listened to the police and got on the floor. So Kevin has made, his stance on this subject from day one. So for anybody to sit up here and try to act like he not wanting to get involved in this for any other reason other than he just don't agree with it and that he don't, you know what I'm saying, he don't want to get involved in the whole protest stuff like that. He want to keep his head down. You can miss me because anybody that's watching this show knows what it is and what's going on with Kevin. Kevin been on some bullshit. And since that day, Jake has been on some, fuck that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I can't even blame for it. Because how you supposed to be my friend and you gonna sit up there and blame me for getting beat up by the police as if they were justified and beating my ass just because I didn't listen to them. I didn't resist them. When I was on the ground, I wasn't fighting them back. They were just sitting there. He was just sitting there beating his ass. And you sit up there and your first, thing is to sit there and say, oh, it's your fault? Like, Kevin's loyalty was nowhere to be found in that hospital room, but everybody is expecting Jake that, okay, well, he should have some type of loyalty toward Kevin when it comes to Jake. Now, I'm not saying him and Jim are right, but you can't deny what I just said. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody to be loyal to you, you need to show some loyalty. Because that should go both ways, and it applies to more than just, girlfriends. It applies to everything else. Now, next time we see Kevin, he's, you know what I'm saying, trying to approach Gemma, and he's like, I guess he coming back trying to help or whatever like that. And he was like, I just can't be on the front lines with y'all, but I can do something else or whatever. And she was like, I thought you couldn't get in any trouble. Because really any part of that, you be any part of that, they going to find a way to do something to you up in that school just because you're black. And so now all of a sudden you trying to, be down for the cause, but you don't want nobody to see you be down for the cause. And Gemma ain't with that. At this point, Gemma like, I ain't even trying to hear it. And, she just walks off, like basically paid him all the dust that he been paying her for the last couple of episodes. You know what I'm saying? And it was what it was. And he looks up at Jake, and Jake, all he does is just hand him a flyer, and then, he follows Gemma. Now, they get up in the middle of class, and, Kevin looks over at Jake, and he was like, okay, they finna do this without me. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And Jake just looked at Kevin like, so you really not even gonna do this with us? So, okay. You know what I'm saying? This is, these people did this to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be your best friend. These people beat my ass. This is what this is all about. And you can't even stand up for me. And really yourself. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, whatever. So Jake and Jimmy end up walking out. But nobody was there. Because basically Kevin had scared everybody, out of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because, he in there talking about something, it's going to be consequences and about the BAM and all this stuff. But Dakota was out there. So Jake was like, I got an idea. So he goes and he pulls the fire alarm. And they end up, bouncing and running out of school. And Dakota asked, now this took me out. Dakota asked was sit there talking about some, go ahead, I'll be the white shield. I'm like, really? Okay, Dakota. So later on, we see Jake and Gemma at some spot in the city, and he's getting her a fish sandwich. And she's up there talking about she never had one. I said, girl, what? And so he was like, how you like it? She was like, it's really good, you know what I'm saying? And so they sitting there or whatever, and Jake was like, you got some on your face. And she was like, what? He was like, let me get it because it's just an eyelash. So, you know, he take it off her face, and then she blows it out of his hand. She was like, I had to make a wish. And he was like, what you wish for? She was like, I can't tell you. So he was like, I think I know. And then she kisses him. And she was like, did you guess right? And he was like, no, I was thinking something a little bit more. She was like, man, get your mind out the gutter or whatever. And he was like, it's not even like that. Like, for real, for real. I was just, hoping that you had wished to be my girl or whatever. And I was like, ooh, no, he didn't. And so then she grabbed him and she kissed him again or whatever like that. And then the next time we see them, they was making out or whatever. And then we see them coming out and she was like, what are we going to do now? And Kevin was calling her and he was like, I don't know. Like, a lot of people were saying that they was like, they thought that Jake was like frustrated about Kevin calling. And I don't think that's what it was. I think that he was feeling guilty. And that's why he was like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, you kissed me. She was like, you kissed me back. He was like, so? You know what I'm saying? And, she started to walk off. And he was like, where you going? Your goof ass live this way. I was like, nah, Jake, you about to say it. You know what I'm saying? But I think that was the last we see of them. But it's about to go down between Kevin and Jake. And I don't know how it's going to go down, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like I said before, Kevin pretty much brought this on himself, and he pretty much pushed them into each other's arms. And he really just had both of them at the point where, like, neither one of them was, like, giving a damn about his feelings, especially Jake. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, I can't blame him. So, moving on, I want to talk about Keisha. Now, when we first see Keisha, she's interviewing another couple. And at first they started sounding good, and they were talking about, they was adopting all these kids and stuff like that. And I think Keisha was cool until, the guy started talking about his beliefs and stuff like that. He's like, you already making a Christian choice and stuff like that. She's like, what you mean? And, saying, you didn't have an abortion. I was like, oh, here we go. And she was like, no, that my decision not to keep my baby had nothing to do with God. And so then she was like, thank you for your time. And so later on, we see her go and see Octavia, and, she started talking to the receptionist, and she's, like, putting on this rave review for her and stuff like that about how good of a person she is and stuff. And so while she's there, she ends up having this pain and stuff, and so she goes to the doctor. And, the doctor's really just trying to rush and get, her up out of there and doing stuff without even checking to see what's really going on with her. And Octavia wasn't having it. She was up in there, like, asking questions like, hold on now, y'all jumping to conclusions real fast because, they tend to do this with black women, with black patients. You know what I'm saying? Like that, they act like they know better than you just because they got a degree. And, you know what I'm saying? And instead of taking their time and doing their jobs. And so we end up, Octavia was there to ask the questions that needed to be asked. And that pretty much what Nita should have been doing, but we're not going to go there. So anyway, you end up finding out that it was just Braxton Hicks or whatever like that, and she just was like, drink you some water, and we let the doctor come back and check you. And so that's what she did, and that doctor came back and checked. He was like, okay, so it was just high blood pressure, and it was just Braxton Hicks. You know what I'm saying? And she ended up going home, and then Keisha decided that Octavia was the one that she wanted to give her baby to, which was a beautiful thing to see. Now, moving on to Imani, and I believe her name is Trinity, this girl that Imani is trying to help. Now, we foresaw this in season 3 when, Imani and Trig went into that trap house, and what they saw in there was not sitting right with Imani, and she wanted to go back in there and save them girls. And now that this girl has come back and, was up in their shop and stuff like that, Imani's not letting this go anymore. she wants to help this girl. And so she takes it upon herself and she goes in there and, she talks to the girl and she gives her a phone and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm so scared for Imani because I really feel like she's going to end up getting herself killed this season. And I do not want Imani to go. Now, I predicted that that's what was going to happen last season. If y'all go under my page, y'all can see the video that I put up last season of my theories and predictions. And so far, like, all the predictions that I made in season 3 are coming true this season. And this is one of the ones that I do not want to come true. Now, after Imani gets her a phone or something like that, she checks, the thing to make sure, Nuck isn't looking or whatever. And, she tells her, to meet her. The girl was like, I can sneak out later on and meet me at such and such place and stuff like that. And she was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Just be there and call me. Use his phone and call me. And she was like, okay. And she was like, hurry up before he, starts looking and wondering where you at and stuff like that. So, she grabs her things and she goes up there to the front and she pays for her stuff. And while she's doing that, Imani's, checking the thing, making sure, Nuck if your buck ain't looking at her. You know what I'm saying? And, the girl get her stuff and she head back out to Nuck. Now, later on, we see Imani sitting in the truck, waiting on Trinity to show up. And, Trinity never shows up. So Imani grabs her phone. And before she even does something, like, do not call her. Do not call her, Imani. Because if they hear that phone ring, it's going to be a wrap. It's going to be a complete wrap. I'm like, no. Like, you can't be this stupid. Like, do not call the girl. But lo and behold, that's exactly what she does. She calls her trying to see where she at and something like that. And I'm like, they going to find that phone on her. They going to hear it ring. And she going to get caught. Because when you're in a situation like that, you never do that. You giving her a phone so that she can call you. That's the only thing that phone should be used for, when she's in the safe place, that she can call you, not the other way around. Now, the next day, I guess, she in her feelings because the girl never showed up. She goes up in, where, Trig and Tracy working, for the community and stuff like that. She go in there. When she first see Trig, she like, I ain't coming here to see you and stuff like that. He like, what you doing here? He's like, I ain't coming here to talk to you. She go over there and talk to Tracy like, y'all sitting here helping out all these people in this community. How come y'all not helping them girls over there in that trap house? And she was like, wait a minute, who are you? She was like, I'm Imani. She was like, oh, you Trig's girl. She's like, that's not all I am. And so she was like, come here and talk to me. She was like, them girls over there need y'all help. It's just like everybody else do. She was like, trust me, I've been trying to get that place shut down for years. And, just because you don't see it going on don't mean it's not going on behind the scenes or whatever. So, she was like, I tried to help a girl out. I gave her a phone and she never showed up. And I tried to go and help her. He was like, that's what you was doing? And she was like, yeah. So then he tried to tell, like, mine, like, you got to stop this shit. Like, he said some shit that got on my damn nerves. I was like, Trig, if you say this shit one more time, and everybody know that that's bae. Everybody know that I love me some Lou Jays. But Trig pissed me the hell off last night. I said, you know what I'm saying? And you already know I ain't got no problem coming for my face when they in the wrong. I know other people got a problem doing that. I don't. Okay? His ass is dead ass wrong for that shit. I don't know. And this is the reason why I say he wrong. Because, motherfucker, when y'all went through that mug last season, when y'all came in there looking for Keisha, and them girls sat there and told you, if she in here, she's not here by her own free will. She is not here by her own choice. So how then do you still fix your mouth to sit up there and say that she chose that life? When you've been told that she wasn't there, that them babies ain't in there by choice. Like, stop. Like, I get that, don't get me wrong. I also understand why he's reluctant to help in this situation, because he knows the dangers. He knows what Imani is asking him to do because he knows these people. Okay? He's from these streets. He knows these people. He knows the dangers that it could put his family in. And he has her, and not only her, but more importantly, Jake to think about. He knows how they operate. So this is why he's not trying to get involved in this. she needs to understand what she's asking him to do. So I'm a go for both sides here. But he ultimately pissed me off when he kept saying it. Because I'm like, as a woman, you know what I'm saying? You sitting up here saying some stuff that you've been already told ain't these women's choice. And you gonna still keep repeating this bullshit? Like, Trig, stop doing it. I understand that you don't want help. Just say you don't want help because of the dangers. Man up and tell her what it is. But don't keep repeating that bullshit out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? As an excuse for you not, doing what she asked. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So Amani is like, you know what? You better handle this shit quietly, or I'm gonna handle it loud as fuck. Which one you want? You know what I'm saying? Amani was on one this season. She was my favorite this episode. I mean, now after that, we see Trig. He rolled up on Nuck. You know what I'm saying? You see him out the car and he putting the gun in his bag. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He walking up on him, and he came up there and he was like, "I'm looking for somebody named Trinity." And he was like, "Why?" He was like, "I think you know." He was like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Tell your bitch, to mind her business." And as soon as he said that, Trig up that motherfucker, up that gun. It was like, "What you say?" He was like, "Nigga, you must have forgot. I ain't scared to die." And he put that gun up to his face. He was like, "Nah, don't make me ask you that shit again." And so then, all them dudes put out their guns and stuff like that, but they weren't finna fuck with Trig. So, later on, Trig comes back to the house and he hands Imani the phone that she gave Trinity. He was like, "Did you get this to her?" And she was like, "Yeah. I wanted her to call me, whatever like that. I was trying to help her." And he was like, Nuck had it the whole time. And she was like, "So, where is she? You know what I'm saying? Where is Trinity?" And, Trig had to tell her, like, they found her body. I was like, damn, on such and such a street or whatever. And I'm like, damn, they didn't kill this girl. And I knew that's what was going to happen. I was like, when she put the phone in and started trying to call her, I was like, girl, that is not what you do. And I hate to say it, she got that girl killed, but she had good intentions. She was trying to help the girl. She was not trying to get her killed. And so Imani breaks down and she was like, "Oh my God," you know what I'm saying, like that. And, Trig goes trying to console her and she's like, "No, don't touch me, what the bam." And, she just walks off. And then, because no doubt she feels guilty because, her efforts to try to help this girl backfire and end up getting the girl killed. You know what I'm saying? Because, her heart was in the right place, but she went about it, the wrong way, trying to do stuff by herself. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you she's probably going to be mad at Trig too. Talking about you didn't move fast enough. You didn't go over there fast enough when I asked you in the first place. And Trig was just standing there like, wishing it was something that he can do and probably feeling some type of way like if I, went and asked sooner and stuff like that, like she asked, probably feeling like it was partially his fault too. But like I said before, I understand why he's hesitant to do this. With that being said, y'all, I think I covered pretty much everything in this episode. If I missed anything, let me know down in the comment section. You already know what it is. I have no problem, communicating with y'all. Again, like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure y'all hit that notification bell so I can get my videos when they drop. And I will see y'all next week for episode 5. Take care, y'all.